You are flying with Pod Squadron Podcast. All wings report in. This is Andy Pod Job standing by.
Ooh, I like that one. This is Pod Tracer standing by.
Children of a Lesser Pod, as always, standing by.
All ships to attack formation. Mission objectives to talk about Star Wars in movies, streaming, animation, books, themed experiences, and your art and inspiration from the galaxy far, far away. Today's flight plan includes episode 1 of the Light and Magic docuseries on Disney+. Also, Star Wars trivia. And for all of you out there, all comm channels are open. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Find us on YouTube, like and subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you know when we have new content. But first, I'll be your squad leader for today. I'm Andy Lowe, a.k.a. the Chinese Pirate, director, storyteller, puppeteer, performer, and fight choreographer. On my wing is Tracy.
Hi, my name is Tracy, also known as Hot Nerd Girl, and I am literally dressing sexy so people will tune in. So don't make me, don't let this go to waste, people. Like, tell everybody to tune in.
And on my other wing is Jason.
I don't know how to follow that.
I mean, I'm pulling
Jason,
all the
where
weight
are
here
you
with the
dressing
sexy
sexy?
dresses, guys. Come on.
I am doing the direct opposite. I am not dressing sexy, so everyone is now running away. I am Jason, filmmaker, nerd, toy collector, all-around geek. Hello, boy and girl. How are you?
Hello. And we are, of course, just one squad in the fleet. We're part of the Geekish Network. That is right here on YouTube or on Facebook if you're joining us here, the Geekish Network. S-foils to attack position. We're going in. Let's get into everything. Really quick little bit of news here. So it has been announced that Rogue One, a Star Wars story, will be coming back to theaters. They'll be coming for an IMAX re-release just ahead of the new Disney Plus Andor series. So this will be Andor, of course, is releasing on September 21st. That's the first 3 episodes of Star Wars
all at
Andor.
once?
All at once. They're going to drop the first 3 episodes. And you can prime yourself by getting to an IMAX theater and checking out Rogue One more time, just to kind of remind yourself who the players are, what the world is. And yeah, that should be pretty exciting.
It's definitely one of my top 3 of the Star Wars movies.
It's my wife's favorite as well, so we're going to try to check that out. So, for
see,
sure.
this is why I like your wife so much.
Yeah, she's okay. Yeah.
So this is a special presentation on August 26th, Friday, August 26th, that will include an exclusive extended peek at the series. So apparently, wait, am I understanding this correct? August 26th. That's this week.
That's Saturday.
That's
Friday.
That's Friday. That's
Friday.
This coming Friday is the IMAX format release. I'm just getting my dates crossed here, and it will also include a little extended sneak peek of the new Andor series. So yeah, check that out. Get thyself to thy own IMAX
Get
or something.
to a theater.
Yes, indeed.
Are you gonna go see it, Andy? I know Jason's gonna see it, but are you gonna see it?
I don't know if I have time right now. I am very underwater at the moment. Between various productions. It's interesting, we're talking about Light and Magic today, and we have two productions that are dealing with a lot of live special effects. So we are actually consulting with a special effects expert to try and figure out how we can make some ghost stuff happen live on stage.
Ooh.
And it is there are some logistics to figure out.
Is his name John Dykstra?
Unfortunately, his name is not John Dykstra.
Is his name Steven Spielberg?
Really quickly before we get into that, Jason, you have an announcement, yes?
Oh, do I?
You do. You dropped some footage, right?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes, I finally put up the. It's Monday. I finally uploaded my vacation video from the Halcyon. So if you want to see it, you can go to my YouTube, go to the Beyond Forever YouTube, and it's up there. And I don't know, maybe we can share a link somehow. But it's an hour and a half long. So just because I literally just compiled everything from my real camera and my phone, and I just kind of mashed it together.
So it includes you telling your daughter to touch everything?
Yes, it's in there going like, yeah, it's like, oh, should I touch this button? Yes, I paid for it. You touch everything.
It's really funny because I have seen some other people's vacation videos, but some folks who have gotten very, very ambitious and they came up with their own character and their costume and basically have shot the experience as like a mini movie from their perspective, from their character's perspective.
I just shot it as the disgruntled middle class guy who spent too much money on his vacation. But
as the Spirit Airlines of the Star Wars universe patron.
That's me.
That's what you gotta label. You gotta label it like grumpy middle-aged man.
Grumpy middle-aged man spends too much on vacation. Says you should watch this video or don't. I don't care. But it's there if you're bored enough and want to watch it. I mean, by this point, I know all the influencers and vloggers have thrown most of that stuff up, but mine's a more candid look, I would think. Again, I just kind of filmed as I went, so it's there.
So definitely check that out. And Tracy, you have an announcement for this week, correct?
I do. Are you talking about my anniversary?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
It's Monday.
You were just talking about it.
Yeah.
I was, but I didn't know that it was going to be formally part of the show. Yes, today's the 22nd. Tomorrow is the 12th anniversary of my very first post of HNG. So I always say it's HNG's birthday. And so I'm going to do an Ask Me Anything, which is the first time I'm doing that. I have done the Ask a Nerd Girl in a blog format, but it's been like 5 or 6 years since I even did that. And I've only done a few of those. And so everybody please tune into that, because I threw out a little some fingers a while back, and a lot of people seemed interested, and now I'm worried that nobody's going to show up. But you can literally ask me anything and I will answer it, I promise. And it's going to be a Facebook Live. I'm going to try and see if I can take my mom's phone and do an Instagram Live at the same time, but we'll see. Who knows? I'm going to do my best to balance it.
First question, did Captain America fuck?
You can save that question for Wednesday, mister. I would do it tomorrow night, but I'm hanging out with one of my nearest and dearest tomorrow night, and we already postponed one, so it's going to be the day after my birthday.
Captain America 4?
Well, I don't know if I qualify as a girl anymore, but we're just going to say that I do. I don't know if I qualified as a girl when I started this whole thing, but we're just going to say that I did.
Hot nerd woman.
It didn't have the same ring to it.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's too formal.
Nerd lady.
And I didn't come up with the name, as I tell everybody.
Damsel.
I'm still kind of mortified by it, even after 12 years, which is why I say HNG and not Hot Nerd Girl. But, it's okay.
Hot nerd of the female persuasion?
That's right.
Then the initials sound like some kind of like medical thing, and then no, it's too much. So yeah, I got you.
So jump in for that this week. A lot of good stuff.
5:30 p.m. Pacific.
5:30 p.m. Pacific. All right, let's get into this. So this is Light and Magic, the docuseries on Disney Plus. That is the history of Industrial Light and Magic. This is actually a film directed by Leslie Iwerks. If you remember the Imagineering story that was also produced for Disney Plus, this is the same director. She is also the granddaughter of legendary animator and amazing kind of camera innovator Ub Iwerks, who is if you're at all a Disney nerd, Walt was the guy who kind of invented Mickey Mouse, but Ub Iwerks was the one who was doing pretty much all the animation and all the innovating in terms of all the camera and color and multiplane, and Walt was kind of investing in him and his mind. So I mean, this is kind of more of kind of Disney legacy. Of course, now the Lucas legacy, kind of expanding in and on itself with this docuseries. And we're going to talk mostly about episode 1. We might kind of delve into episode 2 a little bit, just because the way it's kind of laid out. I don't think there's anything we need to worry about in terms of spoilers, because these are all things that I think we all, as Star Wars fans, kind of know about. But actually getting to hear them tell the story of, how this company was built, what was the challenge placed in front of them to create Star Wars, and that's kind of the story of this docuseries. It's 6 episodes out total. What were your guys' impressions of it?
Tracy.
Oh, okay. I'm a huge fan of these behind the scenes specials. I will watch them for every show, and will watch the DVD extras whenever I do watch a DVD, which hasn't been in a really long time.
I was going to say, now you dated yourself, but that's okay. Yeah.
That's true. There are no more DVD extras now, right? All the features are now Disney Plus content.
That's true. It's true. I still actually have a VHS player.
Old school.
I think I'm the only person I know who has a VHS player. Anyway,
I still have one, so you're fine.
Oh, good. Thank God. Yeah. Anyway, I will say that the first, I don't think, even with all this Star Wars behind the scenes stuff that I've seen in the past, I didn't realize how green the people were that he was bringing in, and I totally understand the reasoning behind that. Every job that I've ever had in my life, I've never been qualified for, but I had the right personality, right? It was like, okay, you can, you're like a very teachable person. I can teach you how to do this. And the fact that he sought out people who were not necessarily experts in the industry, but were experts in other things that would bring new ideas to these things that he was doing that nobody had done before, I thought was really interesting, especially since he's such a perfectionist, a self-proclaimed perfectionist. And but even though I watched this at like 12 o'clock at night, I ended up having to watch halfway into the second episode just because of him crossing his arms at the end and going, I was not happy. I was like, drama.
And that's when Lucas murdered them all.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What happens?
So the first episode is called Gang of Outsiders, and it is very much about that, right? I mean, I think they even have an interview footage of Lucas basically saying, there is this kind of underground, there in the 1970s, there was this underground cabal of random people who were doing little bits and pieces of special effects, but there was nothing that kind of brought all of these people together. So it was kind of like, okay, so if his screenplay was really ambitious and the technology doesn't exist, I just need to get all of these people together in the same room and figure this stuff out.
A lot of them apparently did know each other before, just because they had the same interest, and they would all, a bunch of them would meet at the guy who had a bunch of collectibles. He had like Dracula's ring and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was just like it reminded me a little bit of like if you got all the kids from Stranger Things, and they, how they just kind of collect random people that can do random things. It was like if you put it was like an episode of Stranger Things, but we're making a sci-fi movie instead of fighting off Demogorgons.
I mean, apparently a bunch of them were from CSULB, right?
Yeah.
So, go Long Beach people.
Well, they had a special effects program.
Oh, that's right.
So,
yeah, it's like what Tracy was saying. It was a lot of just like, oh, hey, I know this guy and he specializes in this camera. And it's like, okay, well, I'm this guy and I specialize in model making. And we went and we bought 400, submarine models because we can use the pieces for different parts, and it wasn't at all what I was thinking, to be honest. I mean, I know we're specifically talking about episode 1, but like when I heard about the show and I binged it when it came out, I thought it was going to be like a general overview of the company. And even I think like the opening, like the logo montage was like, here's this movie, here's that movie, here's this movie. And then it was really just specifically like, no, we built this from the ground up. None of us knew what we were doing. And here's that story. And then as it gets to the end, you get a little more of like, oh yeah, and we did Jurassic Park and made dinosaurs, but I mean, it was still, that's not to say I didn't enjoy it. It just wasn't what I was expecting. It really is more like the making of Star Wars, really, those first few episodes, and them having to learn to make that a reality. And so that was really cool to see.
Well, and this is the thing too. I mean, I was thinking about, and I was mentioning to Rodney off camera beforehand, I have always kind of in the back of my head, when you think about movies of this era, right? It's like, yeah, there wasn't really, honestly, probably the biggest effects movie before 2001 was Mary Poppins, right? Like in terms of dealing with mats and the layering of animation and live action and, all the kind of both camera effects as well as, like even just like the whole rooftop dance going from, walking on plumes of smoke out of chimneys to get to some, magical rooftop where they all do a dance. And then it's like, the camera effect, it's like there's some amazing crap happening there. And something that I had never quite put together is that one of the original ILM guys was Harrison Ellenshaw, who's the son of Peter Ellenshaw, that was the production designer of Mary Poppins. And that was kind of mind-blowing for me, actually. I had never put that together, actually.
Wait, but one, which came first, Bedknobs and Broomsticks or Mary Poppins?
Mary Poppins came first. So,
okay.
Bedknobs was a pseudo sequel, a spiritual sequel, because it basically had the whole cast except for Julie Andrews.
Okay, well, my brother's asking, no love for the Wizard of Oz?
Well, oh yeah. Okay, that's fair. Okay. I'm saying of this era, right?
Oh, okay.
Right? I mean,
okay, so we're not talking like the old King Kong movies and all of that.
I mean, yeah, well, we can definitely get into all the Harryhausen, because they even reference like all of these guys who were fans of the Harryhausen, films, fans of the the Universal Universal monster films. That was a Freudian slip.
No, that's all right. It's just what we're used to.
Exactly.
No, the Marvel Cinematic Universe in 1954. Like yeah, it was hardcore.
But I mean, just like the state of effects films, particularly at that time, as the 1970s, as everything gets a lot more grounded. It's like, it's all of those kind of, you have on one hand you have like blaxploitation, and then you have like, like kind of gritty. I mean, this is the era that kind of produced, Clint Eastwood and Dirty Harry, and right. I mean, film got much more simplistic, so to speak, right?
Yeah, previous to this, I mean, even prior to Space Odyssey, you had, things like Star Trek and Doctor Who, where they were using bubble wrap for, to make aliens and things like that. So it was pretty revolutionary. I mean, Star Trek had, did a lot of really cool things with models, but Star Wars definitely took it one step further with all the different connectors and making sure that everything actually had a purpose to it, so that those models were just so incredibly detailed. They had one part where they had bought, like, in order to make an X-wing, they had to have a certain like Russian ship model or airplane model.
That's what I was getting at. Like when they were building the Death Star stuff, they're like, we need these pieces so nothing like repeats, and because if someone really looks at it, it has to serve a function. That port goes somewhere.
Yeah.
And the thousands of dollars they must have spent on all these models. And then the guy was like, I could just get this machine for like $1,500. And they're like, well, why have you not done this yet? Go get the machine. Jesus. But then
going to the hobby shop and buying all of the cars.
But then it made sense about how later, like, they had used up half their budget. They had used up half their budget by trying to figure things out, because they were revolutionizing things and inventing things as they were going. George Lucas comes in and they have all these beautiful models, but as far as like what shots they only have 2 shots, and it's like the Death Star guns firing and it's the escape pod coming out of Leia's ship, right? And so,
because it was all waiting on the whole motion control camera, and that they were still inventing and figuring out, okay, how do we program this? How do we, that's kind of. Go ahead.
But they barely talk about that in this episode. It just ends with George Lucas being pissed that there was only 2 shots and half their budget was blown.
Well, I mean, they do talk about how they were basically, what were they, Jason? They were Vista view
because it was a Vista View camera, right? They took it and then they like modified it, and
I mean, they were basically given a bunch of Vista View cameras,
right?
That were basically old and no one was using anymore,
right?
So
and to like
rip them apart and put them back together again,
right,
to serve their needs. To do the motion control and do all the stop motion.
And the guy put a few more bells and whistles on it because they needed to. He's like, but this is going to work great. But then they just, by the time George got there, it was like, where's my stuff? And it's like, ooh.
But look at the sparkles.
The escape pod, George, isn't that great? And it's right at the beginning. You sons of bitches. Where are my X-wings? Where are my TIE fighters?
But boy, if it wasn't for Alan Ladd Jr., I don't think that this movie ever would have gotten made.
That's the producer from 20th.
Yeah, he was the head of 20th Century Fox at that time. Yeah.
I was, I was also, I mean, I didn't realize Joe Johnston was as involved in all of this, because like we always talk about, all of the amazing concept art from oh God, I'm blanking on his name. Why am I blanking on his name? The main concept artist for all of Star Wars.
Ralph McQuarrie.
Thank you. Oh. All the Ralph McQuarrie art. But Joe Johnston, of course, who later goes on to be a film director in his own right, directed, was the director of photography for Indiana Jones, and then goes on to direct both The Rocketeer and Captain America, right?
Right, and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids,
and
the first Jumanji.
And so, like, listening to him kind of talk about this, where he literally was a kid kind of helping out people, and was not formally trained, did not go to school, and was basically doing storyboarding for George, and kind of learning film school and film process through this movie. I mean, that's kind of, I never quite realized that. I always thought he came out of film school. He was another, film school maverick along with the others.
Right. He learned all this stuff though doing that, and he's like, oh well, now I can go make movies. Thanks, George. So it's like, so. Did he do the redesign of the Falcon too? Was that him, or was that?
Yeah, talk about that. That's a great little story.
Yeah, because like apparently there was like a space film that came out. I'm blanking on the name.
It's Space 1999. It was
okay, yeah, I knew it was like it was. Yeah, I was gonna say it's like Space in a Year, and some ship came out, and that was pretty much what they had the Falcon look like. And so I guess they're like, oh, well, we don't want that to match anything. So he's like, you got like a night, go and redesign the thing. And so like he went home, and I think he said like, oh, he looked at like, two plates together. He's like, oh, it's a flying saucer. But then I put the cockpit here, and I put the satellite dish here, and the turret here, and then he drew it.
Because the other guy from the original model said you can remove everything else, but if you have to keep the satellite dish in the cockpit.
Right. And
because
so
they already put so much work into finalizing that.
And he brought it in, and then he's like, I think this is the one he's going to pick. And sure enough, he's like, yeah, do that one. He's like, go build that.
So, and I had heard this story before about how even before it was called the Tantive 5, right? I mean, it was like the Blockade Runner was essentially the first draft Millennium Falcon with a different head, more or less, right?
Yeah.
That's what she said.
I'm glad you said that.
Yes, and Rodney loves that they nicknamed it it the pork burger.
Yep.
So I have a couple of comments from the chats.
Over it.
So Jolon says that the original Star Wars is the only one to win a competitive Oscar for visual effects. Empire and Jedi received honorary Oscars. All the other ones lost.
Oh.
And then Michael is asking, is Steve Jobs to Apple what George Lucas is to special effects? Some idea guy telling a bunch of nerds an idea and telling them to make it happen, then standing on the shoulders of all of them, receiving everyone's praise.
So, that is something that I do find really funny about, and I mean, kudos to Leslie Iwerks, but there's a lot of interview footage of George that he just kind of sounds like a dick.
Yeah.
Where you can even hear like it's George Lucas' perturbed voice. Yeah. Probably the way she was, asking the questions or whatever like that. But it was like it was very amusing to hear. Yeah, okay, everyone was kind of afraid of him.
Well, and his ideas were not super fleshed out. He counted on other people to flesh out his ideas for him.
Sure.
Ralph McQuarrie's drawings were what inspired him to even finish the project.
Yeah. To finish the screenplay, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, to finish the screenplay.
Well, and it's funny in like later episodes too. I can't remember which one exactly, but when ILM is recognized, and he's going up to President Bush and like, here's your award for all this stuff. And to me, I'm kind of like, well, where's everyone else? I mean, like, they should be getting all the accolades, but it was like, to your point a little bit, it's like,
he does deserve the credit for creating a company that did not previously exist and bringing these people together in order to create this stuff, right? Like it was his imagination that kind of spawned the whole thing. Yeah. I do love that he named, I always kind of wondered where Industrial Light and Magic came, the name came from, and the fact that it came from them being inside of an industrial building or creating magic, I was like, oh, that's fun.
That seems to be how he comes up with a lot of things. He like sits there, it's like, well, I was in this building, and it's like, oh, it was brown, and then I'm like, I was gonna call it Brown Building. I mean, I don't. It's just
like, with a sound company, my most popular thing is Luke Skywalker sound.
Right.
Super original.
Yeah, it's also interesting to get all of this interview footage with John Dijkstra, right? Who, of course, was ultimately left behind after the first film, and they kind of get into that a little bit too, which is really kind of bold, right?
Yeah.
And nice to see that they didn't really kind of
Sugar
pull
coated.
any punches
Right.
for that.
Then candy coated, like, we did this thing. Oh yeah, you done messed up. So yeah.
But to George Lucas's credit, right? I mean, I think okay, I can't remember what I'm again. Also, episodes are intermingling for me.
Right.
There is a section in one of the episodes where they basically talk to one of the guys who founded Pixar.
That must be a
and-
later episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. But it's kind of like after they establish moving ILM to Marin County, and then they get into this whole thing about just straight up, George is like, everything about the process of making Star Wars, irritated me. Like all of this should be easier. Sound should be easier. Editing should be easier. Dealing with the mat should be easier. And it was kind of his kind of frustration and impatience that basically had him go, well, look, everyone is saying that all of this digital editing technology is maybe 10 years away.
Yeah.
I don't want to wait that long. I'm going to hire this guy from ARPA. Right.
Yeah.
This is like the secret government technology, division that is inventing the internet. I'm going to hire someone away from ARPA to come up with, digital animation, and of course, that leads to everything, the whole digital sound editing, eventually, digital computer editing, but also animation, and eventually Pixar too, right? I mean, that's kind of what I was alluding to, which is like, oh, you just kind of
because he's like, oh, I'm just going to sell you a Pixar computer and you a Pixar computer. I'm just going to sell Pixar. And then that became its own thing. And I was like, wow, it all stemmed from ILM. And the man was ahead of his time. But I mean, through that entire series, he's constantly going like, like you were saying, why isn't this easier? We should digital edit, non-linear editing. What's wrong with you guys? And it's like, George, you're just saying words. It's like, what's going on? Non-linear what? And then there it is. He's like, and then they show him like on the Mando set. He's like, see, this is what I meant in 7. It's like, where was this? Star Wars would have been awesome. It's like, yes, George, we've heard the story. It's like, we tried, George, but we weren't wizards. So, but that was really funny. Just like how even now he's like, see, told you.
That said though too, right? Like all of the craft work in the old school techniques, right? I mean, just like talking about like seeing their spreadsheets where they're keeping the track of like 17 different layers of mat.
Yeah.
Which is like, that is mind-boggling.
Yeah. Well, and then what was that woman who came in and had to do that because they were so disorganized?
Oh yeah.
Rose. They brought in a woman to be the adult.
Yes.
Yeah. She's like, boys and their toys got to get this laid out.
Because you can't just slip and slide on airplane.
That bothered me because they kept showing that old footage and I'm like, they're slipping sliding on concrete and they're jumping into it. I'm like, that shit hurts. I'm like, I've done that college days. I'm like, not a good idea. And they just kept getting up and doing. It's like, no, guys, stop. You gotta make the Star Wars.
So
it was really hot, they said.
Yeah.
So this is another kind of interesting thing, right? So there is also another docuseries about the creation of Star Wars and the Star Wars Empire that is being released around the same time, that was produced by Vice, and the first episode of that was also released on YouTube. I did watch that, and it is so very interesting to watch that and then come back and watch this, because there are like parts of that where like there is a story about that slip and slide. Apparently the day they had the slip and slide out and were like splashing down into the hot tub was the day that the 20th Century Fox executives came to visit the site.
Oh, no.
Which, when you put that context in it, Yeah, George's pit.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing too, I mean, I was mentioning this too, it is also funny because, like, I think this Vice docuseries is also the first documentary that has actually secured interviews with Marsha Lucas, his ex-wife, who is, as the stories go, was the editor that basically saved the film in the edit.
Yeah.
Right. And it is interesting to, when they talk about how mired this production was, literally working up till the minute they handed the film in,
Yeah.
at the Man Chinese.
Yeah.
And there isn't a single mention of either the editing process or Marsha in this documentary.
They've mentioned Marsha, but not like not necessarily as like a, hey, let's focus on it, but they have mentioned.
Yeah, there was like one like photo of them sitting together, and then it was like, okay, let's move away from that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually a little, I mean, I've only watched the first episode and a half, so I don't, apparently they do not go into her anymore, which I find very disappointing.
No, not at all. They
I
do mention her, like you said, but no, they do not go back to her at all. So,
but that's probably the price of getting an actual one-on-one interview with George.
Right. He's like, I'll talk about everything, but don't bring up Marsha.
Yeah.
So it's like,
but really, he does owe a lot of his success to her because, at some point, I can't remember if it's in the first episode, but they talk about the first screening that was done, and it was a hot mess, and like it was even intercut with like dogfighting videos from World War II and things. They didn't have the footage, and like, like the script didn't make sense, and it was like, what am I watching? This is
right, yeah. Spielberg was like, George, I love you, but what the hell, man? Yeah, I mean, yeah, this
is a disaster. Yeah. And George in this admits that he does not like writing, and I think anybody who dislikes the prequels would probably nod at that. But Jolan is even saying that he hated directing as well, and the only thing he liked to do was editing.
There's a great like special feature on one of the gosh, I can't remember which DVD, but like one of the original special features where there's just literally going down the line of every actor in Star Wars, and they ask, notes from George, and it's like Carrie Fisher, faster, more intensity.
Yes.
More intensity. Faster, more intensity.
Yeah, apparently he does not know how to speak to actors. Like Ron Howard mentioned that at one point and was like, what do we do? He's like,
I think that's every special feature on every Star Wars DVD, because I remember that also being like when Phantom Menace came out and they had all that bonus stuff, and they talked to Natalie Portman, and she says that, and McGregor says that, and then it's intercut with him like looking at all the wall of storyboards and crossing them all out. It's like, no, George, stop. I thought you liked that, and it's like, no.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was the Joe Johnston thing where he's like, we learned really quickly not to put the original storyboard cards on the wall, because he would scribble all over them with his red pen and be like, oh god damn it,
like, George, that took me 6.5 hours. Oh god, my pork burger.
Wait, we can't move on without mentioning that one of the guys involved was kind of a jack of all trades. He was the one who had been in the Navy at some point and was kind of a little older than the rest of the guys. And he had been taught, I believe it was Japanese lettering by somebody while he was in the Navy.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And he did the Star Trek font.
Yes.
And never got credit for it.
That's right. Oh yeah, because they cut to me is going like, yep, never seen a cent for that.
Yeah.
It's like, not bitter.
But I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So 7:15. Any final thoughts about the first? I mean, we're basically talking about the first half of the docuseries at this point.
Yeah. Again, it's like I was just. It was just not what I was expecting, because again, I was expecting that overall view of the entire company, and again, it's just about, look at all these guys who came out of nowhere and made like one of the most influential science fiction big first special effects massive movie of all time. Yeah, and so that was surprising to me. And again, I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. But
I mean,
yeah,
to a certain degree, remade the field, right? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. It was an underdog story. I
And
mean,
they
it's
were
like,
doing these effects when they were kids. They showed some
yeah,
of their childhood movie footage, and they like the things they were doing as kids, and they were like, we didn't know how to do it. We just sort of figured it out because
like, yeah, I got my Super 8 camera and I made like a Jolly Green Giant movie, and they're like, hire that guy. He's 8, George. But yeah. No, it was,
I mean,
it's really
mind
good.
blowing.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, also just the bring it back to another interesting kind of Disney connection to this, right? Is that I mean, I know that this is not like the first, but as an effects movie, that whole process of storyboarding became super important, and of course, that is like industry standard now of pre-visiting and storyboarding
Yeah.
films,
Yeah.
and that is a whole process that was invented by Walt Disney and his 9 old men. For animation, it was an animation technique that was not applied to live action filmmaking until much later, actually. And of course, as the pre-visualization of effects becomes more important, it became like standard, right?
Yeah, you got to budget every shot because you don't want to throw a dollar into something you're going to cut, or vice versa. And it's like, well, I guess we better draw it in that square. Okay, we're doing that. Got it. And no, it was fascinating. It was really cool. And the later episodes, get into that too, because the birth of, oh, we made a dinosaur. Uh-oh, Phil Tippett's out of a job. So I mean, you eventually get to that stuff
Oh,
too.
they get into the Phil Tippett stuff.
They do.
Yeah,
But I mean,
that's a great
but
story, too.
and really like the latter half, I mean, spoilers, I mean, it becomes a lot about Tippett, because
Yeah.
he was such a benchmark too. I mean, with his stop motion and doing the AT-ATs and all of that stuff, and then like, really building the world and the characters as well. And then all of a sudden CG comes into the mix, and it's like, oh no, what's going to happen? And it's another one of those, like, George crossing his arms moments. It's Phil Tippett, like, well, guess I'm extinct. And then they threw that line in Jurassic Park, so I mean, but the whole show, I mean, is really well done,
It does get into a lot of the nitty gritty and not so pretty
Yeah.
stuff. I wish that I am a little disheartened that they don't go into the Marsha Lucas stuff, since they are kind of taking it that far. It would just be nice if she was included in a way that at least gave her credit for her contribution.
Maybe they didn't do it because of that other one, right, Andy? I mean, like, I didn't even know that existed till we were talking about it today. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go check that one out.
It kind of surprised me when it popped up too. Like I had not heard about it. Apparently they started releasing them in July.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely go check that out. It's airing on Vice. They have the first episode up for free. And if you go to the Vice website, like, more episodes are locked. I don't know how you access Vice. Like,
I don't either. I kind of looked at it and I was like, no, I've got too many websites things. I don't understand. I'm not getting into this now. It's like 2D. It's like, what the hell is this?
He's gonna check it out. He says thank you for the heads up.
Definitely check it out. I mean, and it is very interesting. Also, it's also funny to hear the more of these documentaries you see, the more you see how every single person has a George Lucas impersonation.
Are these documentaries just another way to like make cash off of a beloved franchise? I mean, yes, the answer is yes.
I mean, yes, of course.
I don't know.
And to just keep, Star Wars in the public consciousness. Not that it needs that help, but it's also like, remember, we're still got more Star Wars stuff coming, but look where it started. And you love it.
So, and also, right, I mean, what we are genuinely talking about a major pivotal point in film history.
Yeah.
I mean, everything we think about in terms of how films are made.
I do like that it's giving credit to the lesser known people as opposed to just George Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Like, they're really focusing on them a lot more than George Lucas, which I do like.
Yeah.
I mean, and of course, many of us already know a lot of these names: Don Dykstra, Dennis Muren, Phil Tippett, of course, Joe Johnston, who I keep talking about, who I think is amazing. I mean, these are all heralded names among Star Wars fans. But yes, I mean, this is a great way to kind of focus in on them and kind of give them, A much deserved.
Tippett's going to be, there's a small convention in my neck of the woods this weekend, Silicon Valley Comic-Con, and he's going to be there, and he's going to show his stop motion film.
Oh, nice.
Or at a theater, near the convention center. So it's just funny that, I was watching that and they played clips from it, and then it's like, oh, and he's 20 minutes from me this weekend, so it's just like, yeah.
I went to the very first Silicon Valley Comic-Con.
Oh, did you really? Oh,
I
nice.
did. I drove all the way up. Yeah. Would you guys like to know a fun fact about one of our viewers?
I love fun facts.
Jolan's mom was going to background extra in THX 738, but she refused to shave her head.
You kind of broke up there.
Yeah,
what was that?
Jolan's mom was supposed to be a background extra in THX 1138, but she refused to shave her head.
Oh, yeah.
I've never actually watched THX 138.
Yeah. I've seen the student film it's based on, and then the real film, and it's like, well, he definitely had an idea. It's
not
little slow, but I mean, hey, again,
poem.
It's part of the groundwork too. I mean, and that's how we got THX sound, I mean, so it's, a lot of good jokes.
Again, so original with his name.
So original. It's like, George, what do you want to call your sound? I want to name after my first movie. Get out of the room. So
but we get to see 1138 Easter eggs all over the place.
Oh, yeah, everywhere. Yes. Yep.
Actually, my boyfriend, that was his Instagram for a long time. It was his name and then 1138.
Nice. Nice.
All right. So that is that definitely go check that out. Again, that's on Disney Plus. All 6 episodes are out, so you can binge through it and watch the whole thing. Also, do check out that Vice series. Like I said, the first episode is up on the YouTube channel for Vice, and if you have access to Vice, check out the rest of the series and let us know how it is. Let's move on to our next segment, and I believe this involves our off-screen producer, Mr. Rodney.
Hello. So hopefully everybody can hear me. They should be able to hear me.
God.
But I know you guys on the Zoom call can. Hopefully people on the stream can hear me as well. If you can drop a comment in the comments, let me know if you can hear me or not. Basically, we are going to try to play. We're going to play Star Wars trivia. I know this is a thing that we used to do in Pinky Korea. We would play a lot of games. That was when we were on set, so it was easier to do.
Yes,
but once we were on Zoom, it's a little harder to do, like, fun little games, trivia games like this. But I thought maybe we give it a try and see how it goes.
So,
maybe
are we doing a buzzer, or are we like?
So no, because of the lag, the buzzer is going to be too hard. Yeah, some people have different internet connections, so the buzzer will be too hard. So it'll be multiple choice. So everybody gives in. Yeah, I know. I wanted to, like, the buzzer is your name, but like the lag will be difficult to manage. So it's just multiple choice. We have about 20 questions. We'll try to get through all of them. We might not get all to them, but yeah, it'll be multiple choice. I'll read the question. Everybody gives me their answer, so you can hear each other's answers. And then whoever, gets it correct, they get a point. And then whoever has the most points at the end wins.
All right.
I'm gonna yell my name.
Yeah.
David says.
And then you can play in the chat, but don't give it away. So Tracy, don't read chat.
Chat? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm saying the people in chat can play along. They can guess too, but don't read chat, Tracy, because
Okay, I won't. Had some can before the show.
All right, ready? First question. What department did Finn work in as a stormtrooper? A.
Sanitation.
let me read the answer.
I
multiple choice. It's multiple choice. And then again, you're not trying to just give your answer, and then some people might have different answers. Some people, So it's A, fighter maintenance, B, communications, C, mess hall, D, sanitation. So Jason, your answer is sanitation.
Yes.
Andy, what is your answer?
Also sanitation.
And Tracy, what is your answer?
E.
Wow. You're gonna get people on the chat on Wednesday now.
Gotta get those viewers, guys.
And you're all correct. The D is correct. When in doubt, always go with the D, right?
Jeez.
Where? Okay, question 2.
I
Where?
have to apologize to my brother who is watching. Sorry.
Yeah, he picked a great time to finally join in. Yeah.
Death Star. D is for Death Star.
Yes.
All right. 2. Where was the first appearance of Boba Fett? A. Empire Strikes Back. B. A New Hope. C. Star Wars comic book issue number 3. Or D. The Star Wars Holiday Special. Jason.
D.
Andy.
I am going to. Okay, wait.
Choose wisely.
D. Okay, I'm going to say D, but I think there's technically another answer.
Okay. And
Tracy has chosen.
I'm brushing my teeth. I don't know what to tell you.
all right. So
You got Andy left.
So-
No.
according to the answer I was given, it is D. The Star Wars Holiday Special. So everybody's got a point. So basically, everybody's even so far.
You
So
made
what
all the
was
answers
here?
D on purpose, Rob.
Yeah, just so you can keep doing that, Tracy.
So my question is, did he appear in the serial in the mail order before the holiday special?
No, I think that was after.
Was that after?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was after.
The
And
holiday
then-
special was his first appearance.
Yeah, and then who's this guy? And then you had to mail in all your proofs of purchase, and then he was there. So yeah, I think. I don't know.
I don't know, look that up.
Okay, we'll look that up. But according to the answer, we're going to go with the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Sure.
All right, question 3. What was Galen Erso's nickname for his daughter? A. Nerf Herder. B. Hot Nerd Girl. C. Stardust. Or D. Feral Geek. Jason.
C.
Andy.
Stardust.
And Tracy.
You're gonna get every gesture, every question will be something like.
The answer is C.
That is correct. Stardust was his nickname. All right. Question number 4. Lightsabers are powered by what type of crystal? A. Meth. B. B.
Hey!
Yeah, I wish.
B. Kent Burr. C. Andonian. Or D. Kyber. Let's go with Tracy first.
Oh,
Tracy
sorry,
first.
Tracy.
All
Okay.
right,
That's
Andy.
your answer.
Andy.
Kyber.
And Jason.
Yes, Kyber, but I wish it was meth.
You guys are all correct. Jeez, what's going on? You guys are like a.
Okay.
That's true. That is true.
So the mail order offer was May 31st, 1979. So, yes.
It was after.
It was after. That was
Okay.
confirmed.
Okay, cool. With a fact check there, we have the fact check come in from Andy. Good. All right. So 5. What was the name of the first planet that Obi-Wan goes to find Leia? A. Coruscant. B. Mustafar. C. Dayu. Or D. Mapuzo. And let's go with Tracy first.
This is wait. Wait. Is this the new series?
That is correct.
Small. Okay. Say them again.
A. Coruscant. B. Mustafar. C. Dayu. D. Mapuzo.
It's C or D.
Yeah.
I'll go with. I'm trying to remember which one was like the one that was like Hong Kong.
And 5, 4, 3,
C.
2. Andy.
Wait, what was he?
Dayu.
Okay. I will also say Dayu.
And Jason.
Yeah, I'm going with Dayu as well.
You are all correct. It is Dayu. And it is, in fact, the one that looks like Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Hong Kong planet.
Yeah. And 6, Jar Jar Binks, Padme Amidala, and Senator Palpatine are all come from which planet? A. Coruscant. B. Bespin. C. Camino, D. Naboo.
Do it, Tracy.
And go
There
with Tracy
you
first.
go.
Okay, Andy,
Naboo.
Naboo.
Jason,
Naboo.
you are all correct. And I did not do this on purpose, but it seems like it is. Okay.
They're all gonna be-
Had I known it was going to go this way, I probably would have mixed it up a little bit more.
Oh, I would find a way.
All right, 7. The Jedi Council consists of how many members? A, 2,
Oh.
B, 7, C, 12, or D, 25?
What was
Let's
the
go
first one? I didn't hear that.
2. A is
Oh.
2. So let's go with Jason first this time.
What were the?
Hey, no Googling. No Googling.
I'm not. No, I'm asking what numbers they were.
A is 2, B is 7, C is 12, and D is 25.
Oh God. I will say. Was 12 C?
Yes.
C. I say C.
Okay. And Andy.
I will also guess 12. Wait. Yes, 12.
It's
All right.
12 or, it's 12 or 25.
And Tracy. Man, you guys are all correct.
Hey.
Dude, there's like literally you guys are neck and neck. And it's just like they're all you guys are.
12 is a good round number of how
Yeah,
many toys
exactly.
you can collect.
Yeah,
25
I knew
is
the
kind of
room was
pushing it.
full, but it
Yeah.
wasn't 25 full. So I'm like, I'm just all right. I half of another. Okay.
All right, question number 8. What is the name of the band for Mos Eisley Cantina and New Hope? A, the Cantina Band. B, Figrin, Dion, and Modal Nodes. C, the Max Rebo Band. D, the Galactic Whalers. And let's go with Andy first this time.
I will go with the nodal nodes.
The Modal Nodes, okay. And Tracy.
What Andy said.
And Jason.
What was D?
D is the Galactic Whalers.
Itch. I'm gonna go with what everyone else said too.
And that is correct. Everything.
Okay. That one
Yeah.
I really didn't
Maybe
know.
when you get like to the hardest questions, just choose one of them for each of us.
That's true.
Yeah. Then,
I already
then
got mine.
someone's gonna get it wrong.
Because
How-
I do love me some Figrin Dan.
You have their poster and T-shirt and their merch.
I do, actually.
How did Mando first join the Mandalorians? A, he won a tournament. B, he stole Mandalorian armor. C, he was rescued and raised as a child. Or D, he was born on Mandalore. Let's go with Tracy first.
C.
Which one?
C.
Okay. And Jason.
Yes. C. Raised as a child.
And Andy.
Rescued and raised by the Watch.
You are all correct. Yeah, man, I should find harder questions next time.
Well, the band one was hard. I did not know
Yeah.
Figrin Dan could have put me in the lead, I think.
It almost did. All right, let's see if we can get there. Okay. What planet is what is Boba Fett's homeworld? A, Tatooine. B, Mandalore. C, Zolan. Or D, Camino. Let's go with Tracy first.
Camino, because he was created in a test tube.
All right. And Andy.
See, that's an interesting technicality.
Yeah.
Because I would say he considers Mos Espa to be his home now that he is on his own. So I will say Tatooine.
And Jason.
Oh, God, they both make valid points, but I'm gonna go with Camino too. Sorry.
Camino is correct.
Hey.
Yeah. All right.
That's a
So we have a
technicality,
little.
though.
We have a little. Yeah. Well, I mean, he like Tracy said, he was born there. He was literally born in a test tube there, right?
However, there is definitely a Boba Fett T-shirt out right now that has a picture of Jabba's palace and says in Arabesh home.
All right.
I'm
11.
just saying.
What is Anakin's nickname for Ahsoka? A. Sniper. B. Snips. C. Youngling. D. Sky Girl. Let's go with Tracy first.
B.
B. Andy.
B's for boobies.
Snips.
Yeah.
And Jason.
Yes.
All right. You all got that. You got a
I've
point
been
for that. Oh,
waiting for a
correct. All right. This one's too easy. Let me see. Oh, yeah. This one might get you guys. All right. Number 12. What is the name of Bad Batch's ship? A. The Razor Crest. B. The Havoc Marauder. C. The Ghost. D. Slave One. Jason.
C.
All right. And Andy.
Havoc Marauder.
Yeah.
Tracy.
That's my guess too. Yeah. It was either
And
that or Ghost, but
the Havoc Marauder is correct. So
yeah.
Andy
Andy, we're
and
tied.
Tracy. Tracy in the
Well,
lead
I'm
with one
down
point.
one.
No.
Okay.
That puts you. Yeah.
Wait till you see what motion I have in store for A.
Yeah. We're gonna need to pixelate things. That's
All
how
right.
bad it's gonna get. All right, here we go.
We had a little. We started a little bit late, so we can run a little bit late. So, what is the? Oh, here. Wait. Who is Obi-Wan's secret love interest? A. Adi Gallia. B. Asajj Ventress. C. Justice Satine. Or D. Darth Maul.
Secret lover.
Let's go with Andy first.
Duchess Satine.
And Tracy.
Yes, Satine.
And Jason. All right. Everybody gets a point for that one. And Tracy's still with the lead with 1 point.
Team effort.
All right. What is Star Wars timeline based off of? For instance, where our calendar is BC, and so A, the Clone Wars, B, the Battle of Jakku, C, the Battle of Yavin, D, the birth of Luke and Leia. Tracy.
C.
Andy.
ABY.
And Jason.
Yeah. Maybe why.
All right, everybody's got that one correct, and still no change in the leaderboard. All right, which of these is not a character in Spaceballs? A. Barf. B. Goop. C. Yogurt. D. Pizza the Hut. And let's go with Jason first.
Goop.
Tracy.
I'm going to say Goop.
And Andy.
Goop.
You are all correct.
That's Gwyneth Paltrow's company, isn't it?
That literally is her good. That really is the name of her company.
Jesus. It's good.
Oh my gosh, these are not okay. Let's see. Let's just go through. I have 20 questions. We'll try to get through all of them. And we'll just cut. All right. What? I was just trying. I think I should have made these harder. I should have made these harder.
Do like a lightning round individually with
We could just stop now and I could be the winner. It's
Ah,
I
that's
was
true.
waiting for how long it was going to take Tracy to say that. But yes,
No, let's just get through. We'll get through these questions and then. All right. What is Count Dooku's Sith name? A. Darth Binks. B. Darth Rex. C. Darth Tyrannus. D. Darth Plagueis. And let's go with Jason first.
C.
All right, and Andy. and Tracy.
the only one it could be is C.
And you are all correct. All right.
I was
Okay.
waiting for Tracy to make that into something sexy.
Sexy.
One of my nicknames is T-Rex, and you should see my T-Rex impression. It
Yeah.
is amazing.
Oh, do it Wednesday.
Ah.
All right. What is Ahsoka's nickname for Anakin? A. Walker Naboo Ranger. B. Skyflakes. C. Sky Guy. D. Pod Racer Dude. Tracy.
Did you say Tracy or Jason?
I said Tracy.
Oh, say them one more time.
A. Walker Naboo Ranger. B. Skyflakes. C. Sky Guy. And D. Pod Racer Dude.
I think it's C.
Jason.
I also want to say C.
And Andy.
Guy.
You are all correct.
Yeah, thank
My-
God.
My.
I didn't remember if it was B or C.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my problem. I'm like, oh God. It brought me down before.
All right. Last 3 questions. What is the name of Ahsoka's homeworld? A. Naboo. B. Dagobah. C. Kashyyyk. Or D. Chili. Tracy.
D.
Andy.
Also D.
Jason.
I'm gonna say D.
You're all correct.
Woo!
Man, I should have made this way harder.
We see
I
more
should've-
of in Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah, I hope so. I really hope so. All right. 2 more questions. What group inspired the look of Leia in New Hope? A. Local pastry shop. B. A visit to Paris. C. Mexican rebel women. D. His wife had a bad visit to the hair salon.
We don't talk about Marsha.
And let's go with Tracy.
We don't talk about.
Did you say me?
No.
Yes.
Oh, this is my first time in a row, but okay, it's C. It's the Mexican rebel women.
Andy.
Correct. Yes.
Yes. C for correct.
All right. Yours are all correct. Oh my gosh. Jeez. All right. Well, Tracy, this is you might be able to might be able to
If
tie.
Tracy gets this wrong, then we're all tied.
Yeah. All
I
right.
feel like he's trying to get me to do one wrong. He keeps calling me first.
That's right.
Whatever do you mean? All right. So last question. Which actress played Queen Amidala's decoy? A. Aubrey Plaza. B. Keira Knightley. C. Anna de Armas. D. ScarJo. Jason.
B.
Andy.
Miss Turner. Oh, I guess she's not Miss Turner. Well, she does become Miss Turner. So, Keira Knightley.
Miss Turner, you're in one.
Tracy.
Not only is it B, but it's my character in Star Wars Steampunk Universe, Sabe.
Mm.
All right. And yours are all correct. Woo! And that
I didn't
means
have Sabe.
that means Tracy is
Do I
our
get a
winner.
bonus point for knowing it was Sabe?
That is true. You could. I mean, you already won, so I mean, we can tag it
Won
on.
already, so sure, 20 points for whatever.
My points for Gryffindor.
Look, she
Oh,
froze.
she froze.
She
So
won
happy
so
she
bad, she
froze.
froze. She wanted to be. Oh, look! Oh, there it was. She froze in the winner's.
All right,
position.
well, there goes our trivia. It's we're a little bit over. It's 7:44, but yeah, thank you guys for playing. It was a lot of fun.
Excellent.
Thank
No,
you.
it's fun.
And congrats, Tracy, to being our winner.
Yay.
I'm not competitive at all. I'm actually not, only on this show.
You got that. You got the Ewok freaking thing. So you're. Yeah.
But here's the thing. You
Yeah.
try all these years of being doubted for being a nerd, right? and
That's true.
and then every single time smacking down those guys
Fair
and
enough.
having them be like, what the fuck? And so I've had to be quick on my feet.
If I have to lose, absolutely.
Little angel.
Yes.
So that's our show this week. And just some quick reminders before we adjourn. Remember that Andor is coming up September 21st. We do have the re-release of excuse me, of Rogue One. That is coming up this coming weekend. Also, Bad Batch will be coming out September 28th. Mando is not coming till February of next year, so we still have to wait for that. And of course, there will be hopefully a lot of new information and trailers and such from D23 coming up September 9th through the 11th. Yeah, so thank you for joining us here. We'll be back. When will we be back next? The 19th. Yes, so we will be back the 19th. We are gonna rewatch Rogue One, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit. Maybe we'll even cover some of the second half of the Light and Magic docuseries, or if anyone can, if any of us can figure out how to watch the Vice series as well.
Give us your Vice password.
Yes, give us your Vice password.
I'm not paying for it.
Are you gonna log in?
Yeah, anyone, please.
I'm also gonna do a little bit of recap of D23 and everything that was released there, and maybe a guest. And then of course we will get back into regular weekly episodes once Andor starts. Andor will drop again in September, and of course September 26th we'll be reviewing episodes 1 through 3 of that, and continuing on with that, and then we'll have a lot of Star Wars because we'll be reviewing Andor and Bad Batch as they come.
Woo!
So we're gonna have to be ready for all that. Thank you for joining us here. Thanks again on the flight deck to Rodney, who has run us through all of our trivia. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know.
Exploits,
shenanigans. And of course, we are Pod Squadron, so please check out all of our content on podsquadron.com. Also, you can like and subscribe and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Also, for podcast subscriptions, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app. Also, check out all the other great shows on the Geekish Network, where you can find us there. I am the Chinese Pirate at Chinese Pirate _ on all platforms.
I am Tracy, the Hot Nerd Girl, and just a reminder to tune in on Facebook Live on Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern for my 12th anniversary Ask Me Anything.
I am Jason, unattractive geek boy. I have nothing coming up. BeyondForever.net, Beyond Forever Studios, everywhere else.
And of course, we still want to see all of your Star Wars creations. We want to see if you cosplay, if you make fan films, build droids, build models, sell stuff on Etsy. Show us how Star Wars has inspired you, and we just might feature you here on the show. Also joining us next time, I'm sure Lexi will be back with us. That's at Feral Geek on Instagram and Twitter. And all wings return to base. Core slated and prepare to make the jump to light speed on my mark. And remember, the truths we cling to depend on your own point of view. Only the Sith deal in absolutes. Good night, everyone.
Toodles, toodles, toodles. I won.
No pee? No pee?
I won.
She doesn't have to pee. She won.
Woo!